Welcome. Here we go. The 2022 Internet Marketing Plan for your damage restoration business. Some of you might do remodeling as well. I know a lot of our clients do, and have general construction companies. There's a lot of ways that this can play off of, but most of you are, most likely a damage restoration company. So that's what we're going to focus on. And here's kind of a higher level of what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about, this will be a higher level webinar, but I do have some worksheets and stuff that I can share with you guys that'll help you map some things out. Again, it's perfect timing into 2021 as we're, we're 2 weeks away basically from 2022. It's crazy. But it's the perfect time to go over, to step back and work on your business instead of in it, right? It's kind of how I like to look at the stuff we're going to cover, right? So we're going to talk about goal setting, 3 fundamentals to just marketing. We're going to talk a little bit about website conversions. We're going to talk about kind of bigger picture, having a comprehensive marketing approach. We're going to talk a little bit about what we're seeing, some trends we're already seeing that are definitely going to continue to play out going into 2022. And then again, I got some workbooks and stuff I can share with you guys to kind of help you get some of this mapped out a little better. Again, I value your time. Time is the only resource we can't ever get back, right? So I appreciate you being here. So while you're here, I just ask that you focus, pay attention, and participate, and that way you'll get the most out of it. You don't want to watch this and not be able to walk away with anything that you can implement in your business, to make your 2022 could be your breakout year, right? Or even if you had a great year this year, it could be even better next year, right? So, and I do have, if you guys want to stay to end, we did put together an awesome workbook for you guys, with all kind of worksheets and a lot of stuff we're going to go over. You'll be able to work through this after, at the end of the webinar. I'll give it to you, and you guys can spend some, because we're not going to be able to go that in depth, but you can, spend another hour and 2 to really get granular with some of the exercises we're going to do. Some of you may know who I am, some of you may not. I mean, it doesn't really matter. All you really need to know is I've been in the construction world and marketing world for a long time, specifically for construction and restoration companies. So when I started this company to help, restoration and remodel companies, we've learned a few things here and there over the years that work, right? Otherwise we wouldn't exist. So I have a lot of everything I'm going to go over is tried and tested, and it works. This is, what we do all day, every day for restoration companies. I mean, we do digital marketing, but ultimately the way I look at it, because, again, I come from construction, it's at the end of the day, you want more leads and more work, right? All marketing is to get more raised hands and get more work and revenue in the door. I mean, that's the 50,000 foot view of what it is, but we get obviously a lot granular that with our clients. But today, we're going to try to talk a little bit more of how you guys can kind of map some of that out. So, ask yourself, take a little bit of time to think as we go through this, like, what is the hardest part about marketing your restoration business online in this day, right? I mean, just take and think about too what you kind of want to, as you roll into 2022, like you might not have to have it all figured out right now, but maybe just if there's a certain piece you want to learn more about, or a certain piece you want to hire a person or company to help you figure out. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this webinar. And that way, again, you can kind of, because what you focus on expands, right? So if you guys are thinking about that now, you might hear a key insight or something that I discuss, and you might be able to walk away and implement that into your business. So another way of, approaching that is kind of, why did you join today? Or what do you need help with most? And then, hopefully I can help you guys figure out what that particular issue is and kind of help you figure it out. And I mean, one thing that, we come across a lot is, depending on the size of your company, if you have a dedicated, marketing budget, let's say it's 10 grand a month, like a lot of, I see with a lot of companies, they just really unclear where to deploy those resources, right? There's, I mean, so many options. So you want to know the most effective way to deploy those funds to get the highest ROI you can, right? At the end of the day. So one, and I like to show this because, you know, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this towards the end, but then it's about to be 2022. So, hopefully I don't have to convince you guys that internet marketing is here to stay and then it works, even in the restoration industry. I mean, I still talk to restoration companies sometimes. They're like, no, I mean, I do referrals. But I can say, we don't have any clients or haven't yet to talk to anybody strictly doing referrals or TPAs doing over 10 million a year, right? Like, yeah, everybody that said that to me, then I'm like, and this is not bad, right? However, you want multiple lead sources to generate revenue, but every single one of those person is usually $500,000 or less a year, right? Which is fine, right? Everybody starts there, but you can't get to the levels most of our clients want to get to by just doing referrals alone. So I like to show this graphic to kind of, again, you want to have a comprehensive approach, and this is what we're going to talk about a little bit today. There's many different lead channels that you want up and running for your business, because as we all know, especially in restoration, there will be ebbs and flows in your lead quantity month over month, right? Is a hurricane coming through, or do you have cold winters up in the Northeast where you got more burst pipes? I mean, there's only so many houses that flood a day in each city, right? What are your demographics? What's your population size in your city? So there's a lot of variables. So really what I want you guys to get from looking at this graphic and to keep in mind as we go throughout this webinar is you want multiple lead channels, because if one of these let's say PPC has a slower week, but if you're ranking from an SEO perspective, well, you might get 10 leads a week from SEO that week. Maybe you get 0 from PPC for whatever reason. I actually said that backwards because PPC is normally higher volume, but you get the point. That'll help up. Those 10 leads help supplement that 0 from that source. But then the next week, it could be the complete opposite in reverse. And then some weeks you might get 20 leads because both of them are hitting off. So that's the main point I guys want you to get from this screenshot, and just to keep in mind. And then throughout the year, I forgot to mention this, throughout the year, what I typically do, and I know I'm going to, I haven't picked the order of topics yet, but we kind of take a piece of this, graphic, and we do a deep dive into SEO or into PPC to kind of, give you guys some value and a little bit more in depth of the way it works, so that way you can implement it in your business, right? So, and again, kind of back to the problem is, a lot of people are unclear where to spend their budget, and it's kind of it can be a major investment, right? You're spending 50 grand a month in marketing, which, that might be a lot to some of you. That might be, dropping the bucket to some of you, depending on the size of your business, right? It's all relevant. But they just want to make sure, I mean, even whether it's $500 or $50,000 a month, you definitely want to make sure you're spending it wisely and on the most effective lead generation, job generating resources, right? And the problem is though too is like, people have tried this or that, and like, oh, I've tried SEO before, it doesn't work. I mean, I hear that all day, every day. Again, it's just, you got to make sure you partner with the right person, and to make sure you give enough time for whatever strategy to get the job done, right? But whether it be SEO or billboards or, wrapping your vans, you want to make sure you're going to get an ROI from it in one way or another, right? So, a lot of times this can just lead to underperforming. I should say overspend, not underspend, but I mean, you don't want to blow 10 grand in AdWords and not get any work for it, right? That's a major fail. I mean, I know we've seen it happen, unfortunately. But I mean, that does kind of present, an opportunity that you're here right now, engaged. So you're not trying to go through this flying blind next year. You want to figure out how to fix it. So the first thing we're going to start with, and this is kind of a higher level thing, but I think, something I'm starting to realize more and more, even when we're helping and talking with a client, sometimes dialing it back to the simple things is all you really need to do. to grow and hit your goals. Because I think we just all get caught up. We're going jobs, checking on our texts, we're doing toolbox meetings. There's just so many things we get caught in the day to day, even company meetings, this or that. We never step back and take a second to, all right, let's actually map out what our goals are. And then here's the important part: reverse engineer how to get there is the thing. I think. It's why, I don't know the statistics on this. Is why a lot of people set New Year's resolutions, and then 3 days in they quit because they don't really, well, the consistency is a whole other thing, but a lot of times they'll just set a goal, but they don't really necessarily think about or reverse engineer, all right, what needs to be done or what targets need to be hit to hit that goal, right? So that's what we're going to work on a little bit today. So the first, so the goal is, and this is the opportunity, is you guys want to have enough leads and jobs coming in consistently to keep the trucks out on the roads, nobody's sitting around twiddling their thumbs, and the revenue coming in, right? And what does that lead to? Instead of a terrible ROI, you want a good ROI. And so that's kind of what, that's the whole goal of this. I think I've covered that enough at this point. So let's start with the key piece. Number one is, set clear goals. And again, some of this might seem kind of elementary, but I think we all need, especially once a year, which again, it's the end of 2021, so it's perfect timing, but we need somebody to remind us, that, hey, maybe it's a time to step back, work on your business instead of in it, and figure out where are we going, what are our goals for next year, how many leads we need to get there. And a good metaphor for this is kind of like a sailboat, right? If you I don't know if anybody on here has been sailing before or not, but if you're on a sailboat and you don't know the wind patterns of that day, and you don't set the mast and the sails correctly, you can end up running in circles if you don't do it right, and you don't know where your end point is, right? So when this is comparable, like having clear goals. It's like having wind in your sails, to where if there's no wind blowing, you're not going to get anywhere, right? But if you have the goals set, the mast set, for the sailboat metaphor, it's you can head in the right direction and tracking it along the way. And then what do you do on a sailboat? You adjust it accordingly to make sure you end up in your final destination. And I always thought this was a kind of cool study. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but there was a Harvard study done, and they interviewed a bunch of grads about goal setting, not goal setting. And here's what's crazy: the 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84%. Twice as much, right? I'd say it's enough to like take goal setting seriously. And this is what's crazy: the 3% that had them written down, because it's, again, human beings are funny, right? If we're not reminded of something consistently, our minds just, we're in la la land, and we just kind of forget about, right? We all have intentions, but we might not necessarily remember to do that unless we're reminded of it, right? So that's why I think writing it down and ingraining it more in your brain is so powerful. But 3% were earning 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. All of them put together. It's like, so long story short, as you're working through this today, make sure you take notes and actually map this out. And not to go on a side note, but I've read this a little bit too. And I don't even do this, honestly. Like I said, I don't do this as often as I should, but this is a great reminder for me to, like, even if you want to write down your company goals every morning with pen and paper. I don't have the study with that, but again, that's you could take this to a whole other level by reactivate. It's like your reticular activating system in your brain or whatever. It can help hardwire it to keep you focused on where you're going. But this is just proof that doing this, and you guys, appreciate you showing up today and taking action and doing this, because obviously I'm assuming most of you guys are goal achievers, and if you're not, you're about to be, right? So you kind of want to. So here's like a general framework, and again, you don't have to do it the specific way. This is kind of what we do that works for us. And this is simple, but today, excuse me for a second. When we'll talk more about annual goals, but then reverse engineering them to quarterly. week or monthly, and then you can even dial it down even further, which I kind of like to do. You can take it down to weekly and daily as well, right? But again, you start high level, you reverse it, and reverse it down to what actions have to take to hit the goals. And then something that I've started doing that'll help you guys, if you guys use, I don't know if you use iCalendar or Outlook or Google Calendar, but you can schedule a meeting with yourself in your calendar, like now, or do it after this webinar. Say, hey, let's say March 31st, 2022, or maybe just do April 1st, 2022, a 2-hour block in your calendar. So you remember a meeting with yourself to, hey, what are my 2022 goals? How am I tracking? And that way you can kind of keep back on track. And you can do it, you can break that down to weekly, monthly, however often you think you need to be reminded. But that's something that I've done that's worked out great. Again, because we all say we're going to do it, but unless it's in the calendar, there's actually a quote, I can't think of it now, but I've heard a quote about that too, that we all talk a big game, but until it's in the calendar is when it's that's when it's official, right? It's like if somebody wants to talk to you or whatever, it's like, well, a lot of people say that, but it's like until we book a meeting and we're going to talk, like then it's real, right? Once you schedule it, it becomes real. So schedule a meeting with yourself to do your check-in on this could be personal goals and company goals. I know today we're focusing on your restoration company, but you can apply this to any area in your life that you're looking to improve. So, all right, let's think. Here's some questions to ask yourself. What's your revenue target for next year? How much is that going to be monthly? How many leads or calls are you going to need to hit that? And what's your average transaction value, right? So once you guys can write this down and work through this together, I'll just give you an example right here. So let's just say you're a smaller restoration company and you're only doing, $750 a year, and you want to double next year, right? You want to do 1.5. So that's 125,000 a month. Most of our clients, what we see is, anywhere, this will vary for you, just put your number in here. But an average job size of 3,000, right? Some of our clients is closer to 25. Some of it creeps up to 45, 5,000. If you do the rebuild putbacks, it could be, 8, 9, 10,000 a month, right? That'll kind of be, but on average across the whole, I think 3,000 is a safe target. So in this instance, that would be 42 jobs per month. I don't know, let me make sure that math is right. 42. Yeah, 126. So close enough, right? So it's 126,000. But you guys understand the point, right? You just divide this by 12. Divide that. I think you guys understand how to get there, right? You divide that by the number of months, and then multiply how many leads, or divide, your monthly target by your average transaction value. That'll tell you how many jobs you have to get on a per month basis, right? And I don't think a lot of restoration companies don't necessarily take the time to focus and like map this out. Like I hear it all day, every day. Yeah, I just want more leads. Like, everybody wants more leads, right? If you're trying to grow your business, then you want more leads. But having an actual goal and target allows this is what we do with our clients, like allows you to reverse engineer. Like, all right, this is how we can get there. It's something to think about. So there's one more piece to this though. If you get this many leads, or you need to know how many leads you need to get that many booked jobs. So here's how you guys can do it. What's your average conversion rate for, leads to, it can be anywhere from 55 to 95%, right? I know, everybody tells me they close 100%, and like, everybody thinks they're good at closing until you actually track it and you're like, man, I actually didn't. But we do see like a lot of our clients, it can be anywhere from 70 to 90%. Obviously, if it's more emergency-based type work, that conversion rate will be a little higher, or it should be. If you do a little bit more rebuild, remodeling type work, mold removal type work. The conversion rate is typically a little bit lower because people shop that out a little bit more than they do the emergency stuff. So in our example I showed you guys earlier, if you're trying to double next year from 750 to 1.5, or you just want to do 1.5 next year million, you need a 76 leads per month on average if you're closing at 55%, right? And then, so like what I like to do too is, let's say a lot of you guys are probably 24/7, right? If you're restoration, most of you guys are 24/7. So let's take 76 divided by 30. 2.5 leads a day on average is what you need. I don't know. I kind of like seeing it. I like seeing it on a daily basis because it makes it seem, I don't know, a little, I don't know. I just like taking it down there because then you can kind of map. Like, all right, I need 2.5 leads a day. How are we going to get 2.5 leads a day? And you guys, so obviously tweak these numbers for your particular situation, but this is just a great simple framework for you guys to think about. And I'm going to give you guys here at the end, I'm going to give you guys this a worksheet. So if you wrote that down, I mean, that's good too, but I'll share this with you and you can kind of plug in your own numbers and kind of play with it here after the call. So hang tight. All right. So hopefully you guys took a minute to kind of think about that. Hopefully you didn't fall asleep. If you fell asleep, wake up. No, just kidding. But all right, let's keep rolling. So now we kind of talked about the first main pillar was the goal setting, right? So now you know where you want to go in 2022. And you can, schedule some time after this webinar to kind of finish mapping that out if you need to. But that was pretty high level. You should have a general idea of a target. So now we're going to kind of talk about the 3 main pillars and things to think about from just a marketing standpoint, to where once you get these things figured out and mapped out, you can deploy these across, I mean, mainly online channels, but even on offline channels, honestly. Like once you get your messaging and your who you're going after, you can deploy this for your networking activities with, plumbers, insurance agents, property managers, your boots on the ground marketing stuff that you guys are saying, right? So the first piece is it's the who, right? Who is your ideal customer? Or another way of saying this is kind of who is your ideal avatar? And this could, well, 90% of y'all probably want homeowners or business owners, right? Because the tenants and all that typically don't have the authorization to approve the work, and you guys don't. That'll obviously, I mean, sometimes you can get in touch with the landlord, yes, but the lead conversion rate, the tenant's like, yeah, I had the landlord call you, and then the landlord never calls, right? So that could just be an example of an avatar, but it'll vary depending on, like, do you want mold removal? Like we have some clients, they love mold, want mold. It's all, I mean, they're just mold removal companies. I mean, I'd say 75 to 90% of our clients just want more, water mitigation jobs, right? The droughts, everybody loves the droughts. You're in and out, high profit margins. So that might be your target, right? Some of our clients love the putbacks because, I mean, there's $100,000, $200,000 jobs all day, every day. Keeps the guys busy while they wait on the mitigation jobs to roll in, right? And so each of those might have a different avatar specific to that demographic. And this is stuff I think, because even, this is a reminder ourselves too, like for us to even step back thinking, like, who's the ideal restoration company we want to work with? Like, what's their current situation? And I think a lot of companies don't actually, they're just like, I just want more jobs. Well, if you don't take the time to think about some of these demographics and stuff that I got on here, I mean, this doesn't have to be exactly this, right? Like this is just an example, because again, depending on where you're located in the country, the demographics, I'm sure there's some, there might be zip codes in your city. If you're in a larger city, you might not necessarily want to, go, right? Because I mean, lower income renters, like, it's not the ideal client for most of our clients, right? Just because it's just, they might not even have the insurance. They don't want to file a claim, whatever, right? So this is where you can kind of help get some of this dialed in. And in a cool way of thinking this is, or not a cool way, but a quote, if you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones' eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys. Basically, that's a way of saying, think about it from a customer standpoint. Whenever you're crafting this, like imagine like the situation you would be in if your house flooded, and what you're, where you would go to hire a restoration company. Okay, so I know it's kind of high level, but just something for you guys to think about as you're trying to put all this together. I mean, ultimately, just think about the type of work you want to get and what does that person look like. And then, we're going to talk about in a minute is like, how do you go find that person? Because we have had clients that haven't done this, and they come to us like, man, we're tired of getting all these tire kickers. And, once you look into it, it's like, well, y'all going after the wrong people. Because they might be going after, they might have AdWords set up to go after neighborhoods that, they didn't realize their marketing companies even set up to go there. So that's kind of where that can be beneficial too, to make sure you're deploying your resources, getting that ROI that I mentioned earlier that you're looking for. That's why it's important. So the next piece, so we talked about the market piece, right? The next piece is going to be the messaging, right? So one way, so here's a few bullet points you guys can think about. Like, why should someone hire you versus the competition? And I mean, just to give you I'll show you some examples in a minute. But, and then the other thing, like, what benefits do you offer that resonate? And I can, something on that one that we have some clients that do this. Not everybody wants to do it, but it's I mean, I guess there's a reason why he's crushing it. Is you can offer to pay $500 off their deductible. And why he does that is because he's like, I mean, Jamie, he's like, if I know it's about to be a $25,000 job, like, he's like, I'm willing to offer 500 back to the client to get that, to land that job. So that's how you gotta think about it. So coupons and offers, think about when you shop, right? Like, everybody gets sucked in. I think it's just the way we're wired to, 10% off, free estimates. We'll pay up to $500 off your deductible, whatever the case may be. So here's a few other ones that I put on here for you guys. I mean, this is just some, these are more generic. Like, I would, if it was me, I'd maybe go a little, like, these are a given almost with all of our clients, at least. Like, this would be a good framework. And then I would, if I was you, I'd take it a level further with some of the examples I just gave you about the possibly offering a discount just to help the conversion rates get in the door. Or maybe you don't want to offer a discount at all because you're going after a luxury, $10 million homes, whatever the case may be. And they're like, these people have money, I'm not giving a discount. I mean, and that's fine, right? That's where you got to think about your goals. And yeah, Jeff, you're right. USP for sure. It's definitely another way of selling. Saying the USP would be included as part of your message. Family-owned business, been in business, been here 50 plus years, or whatever. So yeah, but I would break that down even further for sure. So here's a few more that I don't know. This is good. Again, I wouldn't say like just copy and paste all these, but the whole idea of this exercise is to get your wheels turning and kind of, and obviously you guys can spend some more time after this webinar to finish crafting your own. But again, pause, take a minute, like, all right, I got my goals set. I know who I'm going after. I got my message or my USP. Now the media piece, right? You got to get this out to the world. It's funny because sometimes it was not funny, but I have conversations like, hey, I need a new website. And I'm like, well, why you want a new website? They're like, well, I need more leads. And I'm like, well, the website ain't gonna do it for you. You got to have the how. You got to get traffic and people to the website to get the revenue growth that you need, right? But there's many ways to go about the how. And that's what we're going to cover a little bit. But ultimately, once you have, who you're going after, you got your messaging on point. You want to build, this is just a metaphor, like a hub that converts. And one piece of this, at least on the online world, is your website, right? Because a lot of, one of your paid traffic, social media, PPC, Google My Business, all this ties back to your website in some form or fashion. So that is why a website, a website alone won't do you a whole lot of good, but a website with intentions to drive traffic to it, that's where the magic can happen. So you want to make sure that it's built to convert, and you want to have, you want to be mobile friendly. You want to have clickable phone numbers. You want to have the plugins on the website that, when you scroll, the button sits there. This is what we do for our clients. Like, as you scroll, there's always a button there they can just tap and make the call. Because again, most of our clients, at the end of the day, a phone call lead is the most valuable lead, right? Some people like to do form fills and all that in email, but those don't convert as high as a phone call, right? You want Bob sitting in his basement, water up to his knees, and he needs help. That's the call you want. So you want to make sure that it's a clean website, and if you have something else too, I like to bring up is personalization, right? So in this client, for example, this client's website, you can see they have branded trucks and vans and all that. Well, they got professional pictures taken of that. So when a prospect shows up here, they're like, all right, this company looks legit. It's actually a background, of Charlotte. That's where this client's located. It'll connect with the demographics they're going after, right? It doesn't look like, I see this all the time too. It looks like you'll see cookie cutter with stock image restoration websites. And I guess I have an eye for that because I'm in this business. But I think a person in this day and age, people shop enough on the internet to know, they're like, oh, I don't even know if this company's legit, right? Like I don't see any company photos. I don't see any pictures of any actual people on here. So the personalization can help from a conversion aspect as well. So those are some things to keep in mind. And here's a few others that you guys can. Again, I kind of already mentioned the authentic images. Videos can be super powerful. If you guys have any like company overview videos, or what I really like too, if you have any video testimonial interviews, these are going to be a little bit more difficult to get from the homeowner. But if you do an awesome job, and maybe you can even offer Bob a $50 discount if he shoots a video testimonial for you, talking about how great of a job you did, right? Because people feel that'll help convert. When people see that video, they're like, man, if ABC Restoration did a good job for Bob, I'm assuming he's going to do a good job for me. So that can be very powerful. You want to have your reviews. I don't say everybody, but a lot of people read reviews before they make a purchase, right? I kind of, even if I have to hire contractors here locally and I don't have a referral or a buddy that owns a construction company for that particular service that I'm looking for, I will look through the reviews real quick, and you can kind of get a pulse of the overall company that way. So make sure you got the reviews on your website. That'll help. And again, you want the higher level things. You want clickable phone number in the top right hand corner. I don't think I mentioned this on here, but the mobile friendly, like I mentioned, you want, if you got an A+ BBB rating, you want to put that on your website, right? Like that's a great credibility source. There's all these like Angie's List, Home Advisor awards. You want to display those as well. And something new that we're actually rolling out now. It's kind of been in beta testing here recently, but you want a chat widget, and our chat widget is a SMS, right? Because for whatever reason, nobody likes to talk on the phone. It seems like a lot of times, he said everybody just wants to text, right? especially with the younger generations. So I have some sort of chat bot on your website, because again, some people just don't want to do an email or pick up the phone. They might just want to chat with somebody real quick. Ours in particular, it turns a chat to a text message, because that way you want to keep the response times quick, right? The tighter you can get back with the leads, the higher your conversion rate will be. But you definitely want to stay on top of those leads. So you guys, if you want to take like 30 seconds just to pull up your website and just quickly scan, the homepage is like, am I missing any of the elements that he mentioned, right? And you can just, obviously you're not gonna be able to fix it right now, but you can make a note to, hey, we need to have our marketing company, or we need to, if you have somebody in-house doing that, we need to have them work on the conversion aspect a little bit, right? Now I will go over this. This is something too that we've noticed over the years, that, and I kind of already mentioned this with the chat, that like there's a lot. Here's the thing, if you guys answer the phone and it's an emergency water job, the conversion rate might be 85-90%, right? Because they just need help. You're the first one to answer. And again, all of our clients, and it's not like, a lot of companies are good about answering the phone. And people always tell me they don't miss calls, but it just happens. Life happens. If you're on a job or in a meeting, like there will be missed calls. And a lot of times people I call them back. Well, at that point, Debbie might already called ServPro or Paul Davis or ABC Restoration, because you didn't answer. The lead might already be gone. And the further time in that gap, like the longer it goes, the harder it's going to be to get. And a lot of times, even with the web forms, we were seeing great leads come through, but they take, 6 hours to get back. And it's like somebody's, they might have submitted that web form, didn't hear back from you 6 hours. Like they might have emailed, Paul Davis, ServPro, and ABC Restoration to get quotes. And then whoever jumped on that lead the fastest is going to get it usually, right? But one thing we've noticed, even when we've told our clients, is sometimes, everybody gets busy. And it just doesn't happen. So here's some more statistics on actually why this is important. And this might even be 5 minutes now, because everybody's attention span is getting shorter and shorter in this day and age. But 15 minutes is that's pretty. It's hot up until, I'd say 5 to 15, depending on the service they need. And even the follow-up, again, this 5 to 7 times might not be needed for an emergency water job. But if it's something that you had to get a quote for, like if you're going to do the putback or you're going to do a mold removal, and you don't sign, some people are going to want 2 or 3 quotes, right? Because that's just how they operate, and you're not going to get it. It's unbelievable how many people won't follow up and check in, like, hey, Bob, have you made a decision yet? It's unbelievable. I had to hire I got about 6 roof quotes for a project I'm working on, and it kills me. I think it's just a salesman. Like, not one of these companies followed up with me, not one. And this was like, not even I think it was like an $10,000 job. It's not an $80,000 build back, but $8,000, like, it's not decent little job for them. And not one person followed up with me. It's unbelievable. So just follow. This webinar isn't about that, but please, just to make me feel warm and fuzzy and better, just please follow up with your leads more than just once. Like, I called them back and they didn't answer is not. That alone will, if you started doing that and then texting, that alone will help you get more jobs next year. But what I wanted to show you too is there is a way that we're actually helping our clients now with this problem, is with marketing automation that can automatically follow up with leads for you, right? We're trying to remove, because humans, none of us are perfect, right? We all have our faults. Life gets busy. We can't exactly communicate with them as fast as we want. So how do we remove the friction of that process, right, and make it simpler? So this is something we've been rolling out, or we're just now rolling out for our clients, and it's powerful. I'm pumped because it's going to help with this piece. is you can automate and build out sequences to where, hey, if Debbie doesn't respond, guess what? It can automatically call her. It can automatically leave her a voicemail. It can automatically text her without a human element involved. So it's basically like having a $40,000 a year office manager or whatever the role might be in the front, following up on leads for you. Like there's in this day and age, there's automation, and we have this now to automatically follow up on that. And you can set it to go. I mean, you don't want to like annoy people. Like you don't want to send them like 45 text messages, but you could set it up to like follow up with them daily for 10 days until Debbie says, I already made a decision to go with somebody else, or yeah, let's talk. Sorry, I got busy. So that's where this can be super powerful. And all this can be integrated onto your website to help you with that conversion piece. Again, we're right. We want a hub built to convert. We use the 55% conversion, as an example here. And if you get this piece figured out, it'd take that 55 to 80 probably. Just that one little simple tweak. So just something for you guys to think about. And that's there's a lot of crazy things happening in this world with technology, and we got Elon Musk going to Mars, and there's all kind of crazy stuff. So you would think we've got some crazy technology to help us in the restoration world, and it's starting to kind of transition into the construction world. So I'm excited to learn and see that and implement that for our clients. But so, all right, let's get back to this. So on this example, let me just show you how powerful this can be. So let's say we got 30. These numbers are a little off, but I think I did it this way just for simplicity, right? We got 100 leads, 30% conversion rate with no follow-up. That's 30 jobs. At $1,000, again, we're gonna keep the math simple. $1,000 a pop, that's 30 grand a month, right? All right, so let's just call, let's just say, you guys just do small motor removal jobs or whatever, right? 30, hopefully your average ticket's higher than 1,000, but you get the point. Now, with the automated follow-up system and piece alone, right, could more than double your conversion rate and turn that 30 into 70 with nothing else changing in your business. Nothing, like the email, like the same amount of calls you're getting, the same amount of emails you're getting, the same, you may or may not have chat, on your site, but there might not be an automation piece to that. And again, with automation piece, the goal is to take that automation to a phone call, and then you can get the details and actually on the calendar if you want. Now, there are some things where you can actually have it help book the lead into there's some calendar integrate. It can get fancy, but like it actually help via text, book an appointment on your calendar all through text. Like it's super powerful. But I just wanted to show you why this is important, because implementing one piece of software in your business can take you don't have to spend any more on Google ads. You don't have to implement any more marketing strategies at the time. I do recommend, as I covered earlier, implementing as many as you can, because I meant to mention this earlier too. The way I look at it is, because people are like, man, I don't want to spend, whatever, I'm just gonna make this up, but like, $5,000 a month in marketing is expensive. I'm like, well, you must not have been working with the right company, because if you put in 5 and you get 30 back or 50 back, it depends on the company where you're sitting. Like, I look at it as an ATM machine. You put in 5,000, you get 40,000. Why in the world would you ever turn that off? You can't get that return anywhere else, right? You can't. That money's just sitting in the bank. Even with inflation these days, it's you're getting 0.001%. Like, even if it's your company, you want to deploy those resources to multiply is the end goal. So I went on a little tangent there, but if you set it up right, it works, and this can help with that piece. So just something to think about. And it makes every lead you have more valuable. And some of you guys might even be buying lead. A lot of our clients still, you might be buying leads for 3, 4, 5. Some of them, in the Miamis, the Houstons, it can be $750,000 they're paying plumbers for a lead. Usually those more expensive leads are turning into jobs, but And I know there's some lead gen companies out there, like if it's a missed call, you're paying for it. Like that's on you if you missed it, right? So that's where this software can help you convert those missed calls that you're paying for anyway to pay for lead companies. It can help you turn those into revenue. And that's at the, so out, if this automation piece is something you're interested in talking about more, you can reach out to me at the end of the webinar, or I'll have my phone number at the end. You can call me. I'll put in a link too to schedule a call with me if you want to at the end, and I can kind of show you some more of the inner workings and how it works. And we can discuss us possibly. We don't have anything on our website about this yet. Like I said, we're still just doing this for clients to help them out. But if you do want to talk to me about that, let's talk for sure. And we can I can kind of show you. But this is kind of like a video of how it works. Like, somebody will submit an email in, and then we'll set it up, whether it's desktop or mobile, to automatically, I guess I should have made this graphic bigger, but I'll give you all the gist of it. Is it'll automatically text. Let's say they don't text. Then we can set it to have a voicemail drop. It's like, hey, Debbie, this is Bob from ABC Restoration. I saw I missed your call. Sorry, I was helping out a client. If you have a water damage issue or mold remove issue, please give me a call back on this number as soon as you can. We can definitely help. I can have a technician dispatched in 15 minutes. That's an example. And let's say she doesn't, that doesn't work. Let's say 2 hours go by. We can set it to automatically call her, and let's say she just happens to answer. We can connect that call straight to you, right? So once she answers, it'll ping you, and then you guys get on the phone live. So there's a lot of different ways that we can continue to follow up with these leads. And again, you can connect your Facebook page, your Google My Business page, your website, to where all these leads are funneling into one hub. And then that way you or your office manager, whoever you want to have managing this, can call, email, text, all from one platform, right? Because one thing we know too is people are getting like, man, I'm tired of going to my Facebook page, my Google My Business page, checking my email inbox for those leads. So it's kind of a place to have a centralized hub for all the leads, and that way you can communicate through, right? And then you can manually do it, because every now and then you have to step in manually, but the automations too is the huge piece. And you can do review requests from it as well, which is super powerful. But long story short, if you do want to talk to me about it, you can shoot me a message at the end of this, or give me a call at the number I'll show you, and we'll chat. So I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but is there anything, I'll take a minute to write down, 3 conversion elements that you can put on your website. I can kind of help you guys out too. If you, just off the top of the head, put a chat bot or a chat feature, have a clickable big phone number in the top right corner, and also you want some call buttons sprinkled out throughout the page. You just don't want one sitting there. You want the phone number to always be a scroll away, basically. And then also maybe the plug-in on the mobile, or have a mobile friendly version of your website, because I think it might be closer to 60% of all traffic's mobile now. I know last time I looked, it was at least 50. And obviously everything's trending mobile, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's even higher. So make sure it's mobile friendly with that little call now button on there, to where people, that's 3 easy ones. Like if you've got those already covered, I covered some other ones you guys can talk about. So take a minute. What did you learn? What did you notice? What are you going to implement, in your company to make next year your breakthrough year, right? All right, man. So it's almost all right. I need to keep rolling. It's 2:50. I'm gonna try to, thanks for everybody hanging on. Now I'm gonna kind of try to keep rolling through this. But all right, so we kind of covered all that. Now, another important piece I want you guys to make sure you think about and have covered is knowing your KPIs for your business. And I think from a high level, and this is kind of at the end of the day, the most important piece is, and apparently there's some marketing companies that aren't even doing this yet, but like at a minimum, you want call tracking in place. So that way you can see all the leads coming through, and then you can see how much you're spending in total spend and see what your average cost per call is, right? And then and this will be in the workbook I'm gonna share with you guys. But you can figure out, like, if you know how many leads you need, you know your average cost per call, you can see what your monthly marketing budget needs to be to hit those targets, right? Remember, we keep talking about reverse engineering where you want to go and hit your goals. So tracking what you're currently doing is a good starting point, right? And what gets measured gets done. And there's another way of saying that: what gets measured gets managed, right? So you want to measure it so that way you can optimize it, improve it. And especially in this day and age, as fast as everything's changing, like, you have to be on top of this stuff. Especially in our world, like in internet marketing, digital marketing, Google's always updating this or that, changing the name of this or that. Like, it is imperative that, we always monitor everything for our clients. So that way we can optimize and tweak when needed. Again, at the end of the day, you want to get the highest ROI possible. And this is actually pretty slick too, but it doesn't have to be anything like this fancy. It literally, you guys could build this on a spreadsheet for now, right? Depending on if you're kind of just getting started, or if you want like some sort of, this is a screenshot of a dashboard. And now you actually have to use it too to see the actual conversion rate to jobs, because that's a little low, but this is based on a template in there. But so you can see how many leads, how much are these leads worth, what's the conversion rate, and you can actually track the ROI to see, you might be like, man, I spent $5,000, but I made $75,000. Like, that's not too shabby. So you want to have a way to see the ROI on your funds in a simple dashboard. It doesn't have to be this. It could be call tracking at first. You can see, how many good leads came through, right? Versus on your spend, you can kind of get an idea. But there are softwares and companies that you can work with to kind of automate a lot of this for you, to where you have like a 24/7 reporting link to where you can always kind of keep a pulse on what's going on. But again, the automation software that we've built out this is a piece of it too, as well as a reporting feature, because all this is funneling in, right? And then that way you can also track Facebook leads versus Google Ads leads versus Google My Business leads. You can kind of track revenue by source if you really want to get granular with it. If you don't have any reporting in place now, I don't recommend getting that fancy out of the gates, but you can get it pretty dialed in. But again, you guys can have a spreadsheet, and I'm going to give you this this spreadsheet here too. You can't really see it that good, but I'm going to share this with you guys to where you guys can come plug and play with some of these numbers yourselves after this. So we're almost to the end. Thanks for hanging in. I know it's almost going on an hour here, but so here's some things we've covered so far. So now I want to roll into some key trends. Some of these have kind of been rolled out for a while. Some of them haven't. I think most of you know what Google local service ads are at this point, but maybe not. They did start in like San Francisco and Houston and Miami and all these bigger cities, and then Google over time has rolled these out in the smaller and smaller markets. So it's probably in your market now, but it's the three. And what this is let me get into, well, real quick, before I move on to that, we're going to talk to, and I've already covered a little bit of this stuff, you want to have some sort of text messaging feature in your marketing plan moving forward. And you also want to have a comprehensive approach, kind of like that graphic I showed you at the beginning. You want to have multiple lead channels coming in, because if you're not, there's a very good chance your competition is, and they're gonna, we don't want you to get left behind, right? So this is the Google local services. It's the 3 ads horizontal across the top. A lot of you might have heard it's Google guaranteed. So if you heard somebody say Google guarantees, the same thing. Google local service, Google local services, Google local service ads. It's been called a million different things, but that's what it is here across the top. It's the 3 horizontal ads, and then the Google PPC are the ads below it. And again, I already mentioned that, but you can see here, you have to go through a process, what I'll talk about in a minute, to become Google guaranteed. But that's just kind of like a trustworthy badge, which is a conversion element, right? If you remember, we mentioned that from earlier. But Google puts track numbers in here. You kind of have a dashboard where you can set up your, it's similar-ish to Google My Business Profile or Google Business Profile, what Google's calling it now, where you can set up your services, your service areas, a little bit of company history. So you want to make sure you completely fill this out to the best of your ability. Put some personalized phone numbers in there if you have them, but you really want to build this out as best you can. And it is tracked too in the little dashboard. Again, that way you can kind of see your ROI with Google for this particular service. And it's a pay-per-call platform. Google PPC is a pay-per-click platform, right? So this is kind of Google's pay-per-call version. And this is kind of just more of a breakdown too. You see here, these are the Google local ads. This is the Google pay-per-click, which we always I recommend doing both, right? Because again, this horizontally, like I mentioned earlier, right? That's one lead channel. The one below it, the whole other, and people do call both, right? Everything on page 1 of Google works for doing lead gen. And how it impacts the search results, like it pushes down the maps even further, right? See, like on this screenshot, you can't even see the Google Maps. It pushes it down, even further on the screen, which I recommend. Google Maps is still the most, 75% of our clients' leads still come through Google My Business, because I think some people are still hesitant to click an ad, right? That's not, now we recommend, and we do this all day, every day for our clients, ads can generate business, but not the most business, unless you're spending 50 grand a month, then that might override your Google My Business lead. But ranking in this little Google My Business area here is super powerful. And I think I did a webinar on that a couple months back. It's on our YouTube channel if you want to check it out, but or have it in your, or you can, talk to us about just handling it for you so you don't have to deal with it. But getting your Google My Business profile would be, if I was you, I'd put it on your priority list for up there for 2022. And then, these are the organic rankings, which is when people say SEO and all that, which means search engine optimization, I don't know how familiar you guys are with it. That's just basically all of the things listed towards the bottom of the page where it doesn't say ad. And it's important too, but when companies like us do SEO and optimization on their website, this is where we put the website eventually over time, is in these organic search results, right? So you got local services first, Google Ads next, Google Maps next, and then organic at the bottom. And again, when you're on page 1, all of those are awesome ways to generate business. And for some of you guys, if you just a little bit more in depth on local services, the application process can be a little bit of a pain. Like you got to do a license check. They'll do a background check on everybody that's going to go to the job site. You as the owner, if you're an owner. Again, they just want to make sure they're licensed and insured companies, because the Google guaranteed piece, Google is offering that to the client on behalf of you for up to $2,000, I think is last time I looked what the guarantee was for. So they just want to they're not going to guarantee you if you don't have all of your ducks in a row, basically. And then, once they're active, the cost per lead, it's a little higher now. It's closer to, And again, this will vary by your market. If you're in Houston, it's just like the lead gen companies do, right? If you're in Houston, Texas, you're not going to be paying $100 for a call. It's just depending on the competition, the population. But what I've seen here is anywhere, it's typically in this range. Which in the water damage world, this is, if I owned a restoration company, I'd pay this all day, every day for a lead. That's a solid lead cost for an exclusive lead in this industry. Yeah, so that's kind of there's the overview of local services. If you haven't signed up for it, if you just Google local services, you'll find it. I can't remember how they're always changing the name on this stuff. But look, they're even running an ad for it, right? So here's the URL. If you just Google local service ads, it'll come up and you guys can start setting it up on your own. I mean, or if you don't have the time or want to mess with it, we help our clients. I mean, you would have to help us with the background checks and all that, obviously, but we can kind of help guide you through that process if you need us to. So some of the feedback that we have gotten from people on this is it's a lower cost per lead. You might be paying anywhere from, well, it varies in PPC too a lot by market. Anywhere from like with all of our clients, we see it range anywhere from $75 up to $200 per lead with PPC. And again, I showed you guys for the Google, this tends to stay closer to that 75 to 150 a lead. But either way, right, that's a good amount for a lead. So you would, if I was you, I would do both, right? Because it's, again, you put in $1, you get $5 back. Like, you want to do all options possible. They are higher quality leads, high quality leads than Home Advisor, because a lot of complaints I've heard over the years is you get shared leads from Home Advisor, and those for sure. This is why I'm super pumped about our software, because I've heard, I mean, from so many people now, they don't like Home Advisor because if you don't know this, most of those leads usually are going out to 5 companies. So the fastest to respond will get that job, because a big complaint I've heard is, yeah, I call them back, but the people never answer. Well, it's like, because, that people just got bombarded with 5 companies at once, and whoever they just happened to call first and answered the phone got the job. So that's where the software and the automation can kind of help with that follow-up to help convert Home Advisor leads as well. So, I mean, using the software for just Home Advisor leads alone, I mean, that could double your revenue right there if you're getting 50 leads a month. But, I got off topic a little bit. Back to the Google local service ads. I would definitely recommend it because, they're higher quality because they're exclusive. Everybody loves exclusive leads. We all want exclusive leads, right? Again, I don't think we haven't seen it yet where, you're not going to get 50 leads a month from doing it. But you'll get a good handful of solid leads through Google local services. And again, at the cost per lead they're at right now, at least, I'd recommend doing it. And you can also dispute if it's a bad lead that comes through there. Google does have a dispute process to where you can say, hey, Google, this guy had a water damaged iPhone. Like, I'm not paying for this lead. He just happened to call me. Then you can dispute that and not pay. So I forgot, I put the link in here for you guys. So you guys can write this down real quick. And if you happen to be a client with us, obviously let us know. We'll handle it. We can help you do this for you. But get this in place, or have the company you're working with put this in place, and it'll be one of those pillars. And and Google's changing some things around too. I think they're trying to make it even more relevant moving forward, because we've noticed some things getting shaken up in the search results that I showed you guys there. So moving on. So we've kind of already built the plan, and we've kind of talked about from a higher level what, again, all of these can be effective for lead gen. So just and this will be in the workbook too. So if you guys want to refer back to this as you map this out a little bit further. And again, I don't know if you necessarily want to get all these in place at once, because that'll probably be overwhelming and you wouldn't do it. Or, one option a lot of people do is they hire companies like us because we don't have time to figure all this stuff out. Just do it for us. And then we're like, I mean, that's why our company exists, right? To take that piece off your plate, let you run your company, so we can help you with your lead gen efforts. That's always an option too, right? If you want to do it. But just the main overall thing is I want you to have a comprehensive plan in place for 2022. And again, what does that, I mean, this is just kind of the higher level, but website built to convert, SEO strategy, a Google Maps strategy, online review strategy. I need to do a webinar on that in Q1 of next year, because I think, along with the automation software and all that, like that's going to be a game changer. But I think from a Google perspective overall, because it's kind of how everybody I talk to, all the market research we do, data we get, reviews are becoming more and more important, but before a buying decision is made. Even in our emergency niche, where people are looking at reviews, they want to see that you're a trustworthy, reputable company that's going to take care of them. So definitely have an online review strategy on there. Think about some strategic PPC campaign, a social presence, email marketing. You can get creative there. And then obviously you want to have some sort of tracking KPIs in place to measure all this and adapt as you go. All right, so we are kind of getting towards the end. So let me share with you guys the workbook. And again, I think there's some exercises in here too that you guys can do on your own to like I said, I recommend blocking another hour or two after this webinar, or we got a week or two before the end of the year, but to really go through this and map it out. Actually, that's the wrong. Hang on a minute. Let me grab this. All right, it's a PDF. All right, there's the link. Is that link working for you guys? So it's going to download to your computer or your browser. So wherever you normally go get your PDF downloads is where you're going to have to go get it. Hopefully that makes sense. No link showing. Go to the chat. Go to the chat box, Jeffrey. Is that somebody else? Let me know. Is that link working for you guys? I clicked that link and it works. I think you might be looking in the wrong area. Potentially. Yeah, I did send it to everyone, I thought. Are you guys in the, let's see, you're in the chat. All right, hang on. Technical difficulty. Yeah. Is it working for you now, Jeff, or no? All right, hang on. Technical problems. Bear with me a second. Yeah, Cecilia actually is she works with us as well. She's on here helping me out. Try that link. Huh. Maybe I was chatting to everyone. All right. There you go. Thanks, Cecilia, for the help. All right, cool. So this is what it looks like. I'm not going to go through it all now, but it's look, you can write down some key insights and actions that you want to implement, from the webinar today. It's kind of got, again, the omnipresence graphic I've been talking about today for you guys to review. You can kind of play with. I'm going to get you this other spreadsheet too. To reverse engineer your goals. That, if I only had to pick one thing to do and tell you guys to do it, it would be that exercise. And again, it can kind of walk you through some of that. It kind of, there's a little bit more on there about the media, the market, and the message, which we covered. Your customer avatar. It's kind of like a Cliff Notes version for you guys. And there's also a little bit of checklist on here for the email marketing and all that stuff for you as well. So it's really, yeah, we spent a lot of time putting this together for you guys. It's pretty sweet. Hopefully it should be valuable to you guys and help you guys map out your goals. Now let me, yeah, thanks, Cecilia. She already put it in there. So click that other link in the chat, and it's going to take you to this page. Now you can set your goals, and you'll have to do a little bit of manual filling in here, but you want to set, what's your baseline revenue, what's your average job or ticket amount, the number of jobs you want to get, and then you can kind of fill it in here to set your monthly goals and targets for next year. And then, there's an area for, you remember that cost per lead exercise we went through earlier. You can plug in here to figure, because here's the thing too, is I had this conversation. I was going to, because you can't, approach a market, like even whether you hire a marketing person or you hire a company like us, you want to know, you can't say, hey, I want 100 leads a month. And then I'm like, what's your budget? And they're like, well, 2,000. I'm like, dude, it ain't happening. It's just, and again, it's not that we don't want it to not, I wish I could make that happen, but based on the average cost per lead and the budget required to hit these goals, you're going to need budget to hit that, right? So, and this is just a higher level example, but if you're trying to do 2.5 million next year and you're converting at a 50% close rate, you need to be spending 13, 14 grand a month to hit that. And that's at $100 cost per lead, right? And the cost per lead is going to vary based on your market. If you're in the middle of nowhere in Montana, it's going to be a little cheaper to market there than it is going to be in Houston, Texas, for example, right? Because the demographics, the competition, and all that. But in this scenario, they need to be spending 13, 14 grand a month at that cost per lead to do 2.5 next year. So I mean, this alone, thinking about this and working through this alone, I think hopefully you guys are will be able to use it, because this is super powerful. And then there's this budget allocation worksheet we put together for you guys, to where if you want to take some of your marketing budget and allocate it to some offline markets, online markets, that's on here as well. You can do a average cost per lead by source. This is super powerful. That'll help you get even more granular. A marketing calendar. This could be based around, what you want to focus. Depending on where you're located, might vary on like if you're, burst pipes, Florida doesn't have a whole lot of burst pipes. I mean, they have burst pipes, but not frozen pipes, right? So depending on where you are, you want to cater this to be more specific to where you are, but you can kind of plan out, a general topic you want to use for the year, and use that across social media, your website, PPC, email. There's all kind of ways that you can do. And then if you want to, we talked about, the messaging of your company, your unique selling proposition or USP. You can kind of play with some of with this wording and stuff. I kind of put a few examples in here. And this too alone is I'm not seeing a lot of restoration companies do it. That can be super powerful to increase your conversion rate from your online marketing efforts. This piece right here, because a lot of people, we see it all day, every day with plumbers, HVAC guys, this and that. But if you guys start testing this, it'll help you out in 2022, for sure. So hopefully, somebody put a 1 in the chat box for me. Did this Google? Oh, and if you guys want to look at my screen real quick too, you're gonna have to make a copy of it, I think. But put a 1 in the chat if the Google Sheet link worked. Did it at least pull up? No ones. Is everybody? Hey, would somebody put a 1 in the chat box for me if that link to the Google Sheet worked? All right, sweet. Thanks, Jeffrey. Cool. All right. So there you go. You guys have, this is what I was going to show you there real quick. Some of y'all might not. You might have to click File, Make a Copy, because you should have the version that I guess, because we have our own version that we like to keep on our files that not editable. But if you File, Make a Copy, it'll make a copy into your drive, and that way you guys can edit it and make it specific to your business. So I just want to show you that. File, make a copy, and you should be good to go. Cool. All right, we're almost done. Let me get back to. So there you go. I'd recommend spending a little bit more time going through some of that. I know we've covered a lot today, but I think really taking a minute to go through this, build your custom plan. And again, if you want to take it next level, you can reverse engineer all this and go ahead and put it in your calendar or schedule team meetings to check in on this stuff with your company to say, hey, we on track, off track. If we're on track, awesome. If we're off track, okay, it happens. What do we need to do to fix it to get back on track? I think a lot of companies do this, but they don't necessarily do this from a lead gen perspective and marketing perspective, right? And that's one of the most important pieces, right? Without marketing and sales, nothing's happening in business, right? So I'd recommend you can schedule that on a calendar, schedule team meetings. So we've covered a lot. So I don't, again, you guys I wouldn't recommend trying to tomorrow to talk with a team. I mean, getting all these mapped out. What's normally most beneficial is to pick, let's just say, pick 3 things that you and the team are going to implement next year, right? Maybe it's have a website built to convert. Maybe it's looking into some automation, and then maybe it's run some Google local service ads, right? So we covered that today. That could be 3 things to focus the team and resources on that, get it done. And then once you get those pieces implemented, you can roll into 3 other things, right? Because there's a lot of different, even this sheet alone has a lot of different things on here. I would spend some time going through this though, because this kind of ties in back to the messaging that I talked about earlier. And so just pick 3 to walk away with, and that you guys are gonna that you're going to do. All right. Any takeaways? Like, what did you learn? What did you notice? Anything you want to share? Yeah, Jeffrey's got his USP in there. Yeah, I like that. That's good. The triple P USP, property, possessions, and peace of mind. No, that's good. So yeah, now you could take that, Jeffrey, and implement that, across all your marketing channels. Your trucks, your ads, your pamphlets, your online ads, your websites. That can be kind of yeah, okay. Yeah, the bot, yeah, that stuff is it's yeah, that stuff is kind of next level for sure. And I would say, once people have their foundations in place, implementing the automation, because we use it a little bit in our business, and literally you can, for a fraction of the cost, it's like having a $40,000-$50,000 a year employee, but it's automated, right? And the fun, I don't know if this is fun or exciting, but like these type of things, I think it'll hit other industries sooner than it hits. Construction tends to lag a little bit in the technology world, but we're going to see more and more crazy automations and stuff rolling out to help. At the end of the day, though, as long as you can, save costs and increase efficiency is the whole goal, it'll be super, super powerful. So here's what we've covered. We've set goals, and if you haven't finished doing that, I've sent you the workbooks, sent you the Google Sheet. Maybe you want to sit down with your team too and kind of like talk to them about it, come map out a plan. But I really would recommend just reverse engineering your goals from a higher level. The 3 fundamentals of marketing success, remember, the media, the message, and the market. We talked a little bit about, optimizing your website for conversion, having a big picture marketing approach to maximizing your lead flow, multiple, basically meaning having multiple lead channels going. So that way, when there's this one, slips a little bit, this one helps pick it up, especially in our industry. There's ebbs and flows in this business, as all you guys know. So definitely have a comprehensive marketing approach. We covered some of the latest trends, right? The Google local service ads, the marketing automation, and then we've started to develop a custom plan, and you guys have the workbook that you can finish working through yourself or with your team. Again, I'd recommend mapping through that plan, and then maybe even take it next level and put it on your calendar to revisit that plan, or set team meetings with your company to revisit that plan to make sure, because it's kind of like with New Year's resolutions, it's hard to stay on track unless you make it a habit or you set reminders. It's just like when, in a couple of weeks, there'll be 4,500 people in the gym, and then 2 weeks, February 1st hits, there'll be 4 people in the gym, right? Nobody sticks to it. It's unfortunate, but none of us are perfect, right? But the reminders and creating this type of work and stuff is a habit. Well, it will help you guys stay on track and revisit it. If you guys do want to book a one-on-one call with me to discuss any of this further, or get my insights on your, what you currently have going, and maybe how you can, double, triple, whatever your goals are next year. If you want to talk to me, shoot me a text or give me a call on this number, and I'll actually, if you guys want to, hang on, I'll put a link in here too, if that might be easier, because you can pick a day and time that works for you. I'll be more than happy to hop on a call with you guys, and we can discuss the automation software that I mentioned as well. So yeah, book a call and we'll chat, and maybe I can help you flesh out some of this. Or if you want to talk about just I just want you to do all this for, we're busy running our company, I want you to handle it. We can do that as well. So let me know if that chat, did that link come through okay?